The raygun variant of the Pure Sewer is the rarest PlayStation and Saturn compatible light gun in my collection. Its design reminds me a lot of 1950s era raygun toys. I assume it was made by the same OEM that did the Konami Hyper Blaster clone called Lunar Gun for Neki, as the resemblance is very uncanny. The start and special button are almost at the exact same location. The green, red and yellow indication lights for the fire modes are also a shared trait. Last but not least, we can find the atom symbol of the Pure Sewer on some iterations of the Lunar Gun's packaging. When hearing Pure Sewer, most people will think of a Sega Justifier clone instead, which was labeled and marketed under the same name. The source of the Justifier clone might as well be again the same OEM, as both guns were sold using almost the same packaging. The Pure Sewer is a surprisingly big light gun. Looking at its overall design, I was asking myself whether it was initially planned to use a laser pointer as means to aim. Inside the shell there is indeed a gap that would be wide enough to lead cables up and a groove that would hold a laser module. On first glance, the tall front side would seem to obstruct a beam if present, but looking closer, the clearance is actually sufficient. A laser wouldn't be out of the ordinary for the manufacturer, as the Lunar Gun already supported an optional laser module which slid onto its bottom rail mount. Speaking of a rail mount, the Pure Sewer has one too, and astonishingly it shares the same exact dimensions. This again raises more questions than it answers, as the Pure Sewer lacks the electronic contacts which the Lunar Gun had at its bottom. All buttons, including the trigger, rely on push-button switches. The start button is located at the left-hand side, close to the special button, which was placed below the hammer. The trigger is responsive, but sadly it lacks any perceivable tactility. The controller cord exits the gun from the front of the handle, reminiscent to the Lunar Gun. In contrast to the latter, the indicator LEDs on the left-hand side aren't labeled. The fire modes normal, full auto and auto reload are cycled by pulling the trigger while the start button is held down. Sadly, I don't know how far the extent of available combinations goes, as my unit is misbehaving. I cleaned the PCB and the connectors, but unfortunately to no avail. It seems that many cheaply made light guns that have a blob of epoxy scattered over the microcontroller quit working after some time. While having the gun open, I noticed that the board is marked with the VLG 3 numbers code, just as the Lunar Gun's board is, which further supports my manufacturer thesis. With the gun being non-functional, I can't comment on accuracy and precision of the controller itself. It would have been difficult anyways, as for the complete lack of sights. I decided, however, to speak about the performance of the Lunar Gun, as it's probably the direct predecessor and might behave similarly. On PlayStation, in normal gun mode, the left button is mapped to start and the mid button is mapped as the special button. Accuracy and precision are both good. On the Saturn, the left button is mapped again to start, but the mid button does nothing. Accuracy and precision are very good here. On both systems, at the bottom of the screen is a narrow dead zone, which is too small to be of a severe concern. Personally, I'm happy to own this unicorn of a light gun, but I can't recommend it at all. If you can find one which is guaranteed to work, you could do way worse, as the performance, while it lasts, is presumably good. The linear filling trigger, the lack of sights, and the questionable quality are two pressing issues to ignore though. This is the end of the review. My name is Ben. I thank you for viewing.